Hey guys, what's going on, and welcome back to a brand new video. And today we are going to be going over Roger Schmidt's 4-2-3-1 system that he currently is using. It's one of the best tactics I've probably made up to date on this channel. It's a ton of fun to use, and I do recommend that you guys try it out. If you guys do enjoy these tactic videos, be sure to leave a like below, be sure to subscribe to the channel, and also leave a comment on what managers you want to see made in Football Manager 2023, so in the next save. But let's get down and break down this tactic. So, as I mentioned before, he does play a traditional 4-2-3-1. A lot of managers sort of switch into that now. Obviously, we saw Jurgen Klopp play it for the first time in quite a while with Liverpool yesterday against Rangers. Now, with a 4-2-3-1, it is very easy to dominate the ball. It's basically, I'm a big fan of the 4-2-3-1 personally. You obviously got your 4 at the back here, as we can see, and you're able to see the amount of space that you can get in between each player and how easy it is to pass the ball about that back line. You're then going to have your 2 midfielders who are slightly deeper. By any means, they don't have to be like all defensive midfield players. In this system, they traditionally are. Then you've got your 3 here. There's 2 variations of the 4-2-3-1. You've got the wide version, which is where obviously the left midfielder here would be slightly more towards the wing, and the right player would be more towards the wing as well. But in this scenario, you do actually see the wide players sort of drift in and play more of a central 3. And then you also got the striker up top, obviously, which is the 1. So you're going to have your 4, your 2, your 3, your 1. And it's very easy to pass the ball about with a system like this because there's so many players, especially in that midfield area. So it's like, in this scenario, when they do play centrally, you can have players sort of get into this area of space here. This player can get into this area of space. And also what we're seeing here is obviously you can see you're going to eventually, you're going to have some really nice triangles to play around as well. So it's a very good way to line up in a football match. So their sort of passing style, their game style, they've actually averaged nearly 60% possession in majority of their games. And although the tempo is very, very high, the tempo, the passing is always very short. So what we're seeing here is a perfect situation of them attempting to play out from the back. So you can see here the goalkeeper can play it into the centre-backs. Them 2 sort of defensive midfield players sort of drop back to pick up the ball. And then they can offload that to obviously a fullback, or they can drive up the pitch themselves. So with these 2 sort of coming a little bit deeper, that sort of makes it, well, very, very difficult not to play out from the back, because you've got 2 centre-backs who obviously can spread it wide, and you've got these 2 midfield players who can obviously get into this area of space as well. This is a perfect example of what I was talking about earlier with the triangles. Obviously, I say it time and time again, triangles in football does actually win you games. When you've got this sort of stuff going on, it's so easy to keep the ball. You can obviously see 2 triangles that are developed here. Obviously, these defensive players and the wide players sort of coming in. And also, you're seeing this player here come a little bit deeper to obviously help support that last link of the triangle. But you've got 4 players here that are taking 2 players out of the game here, possibly 3 if this guy gets involved. And the beautiful thing about this is it can also be done on the other side of the pitch. So you're set up to do this on either side. Obviously, you can get this player here is completely free if he ever wants to be used. And this is just a brilliant way of sort of sucking players in from the other team and then eventually going up the pitch and sort of catching them, lacking numbers. And in this image here, very good one. Again, a big shout out to Total Football Analysis for these images. But what we're seeing here is a player has just picked up the ball. And obviously what we're seeing is the amount of determination these players show to have an option for this player to pass to. So you're going to have an option here, and then you see in the triangles again. Again, Total Football Analysis does provide these images, so I did not make these triangles myself. I do want to make that clear. But they are very good to talk over, and obviously I can go into a lot more detail. But as soon as this player picks up the ball, he's sort of blessed with an easy couple of options here. And then if he was to play it to here, option with this player here. Same with this player here, he can go right in there. So it's very easy to maintain the ball and sort of build up from the back when you are playing this style of play. So this is what I was trying to explain about how this is so good, in the fact that on this image here, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 players from, in this case, Dynamo Kiev, are actually committed to winning the ball back on this side of the pitch. But as you can see with this pass on here, how quickly he can make that switch and how quickly they can progress up this left-hand side of the pitch is purely because they have sucked in over half of a team to try and win the ball back on this side of the pitch. And all it takes is one person to be free on the other side, and then they've got a free run down that side of the pitch. And that is exactly what this image does show. So we're going to talk over just a few more images, and this is more about progressing up the field and also in that final third area. Now, this is them sort of progressing up when they've got the ball, trying to go forward. As you can see here, before they've even got the ball in their half, they've already created these sort of passing lanes, which are between obviously the front sort of 4 players, going to be the, the 3 and the 1. But as you can see here, how easy these passes can be made between the players. As soon as the ball comes out to this area here, he can start to play it into this area. And that's when we're going to talk about in the next phases of the game. So this is a different sort of image about that. Obviously, when the ball is sort of further up the pitch, is obviously in the opposition's half, you are going to see a couple players sort of drop deeper into that area. And typically what you're going to see is a player come in to pick the ball up here. So say the ball went for this player here, for example. This player here will make a run in behind. This guy can simply turn, pivot, whatever you want to call it, play him in behind, and he's going to pretty much be through unless this guy can sweep across and win the ball off him. And this scenario, one thing they do rely on is individual excellence. It's something which they do, you know, it does clearly state. And when you've got players like Benfica do have, you can rely on this. Obviously, in this scenario, it's clearly showing that because of the space he's been allowed through playing this way, he can come inside with the ball or he can go wide with the ball. Typically, a lot of the goals I saw personally in this, they do sort of come inside with the ball, either have a shot or come inside, still get the ball in, but more from a more centralised area than all the way out wide type of thing. And then the last one we're going to look at is sort of the low crosses that do go into the box. Obviously, we can see here, from this position, he can get quite a driven ball across into this player here, and then he could have a shot from that area, or he can go right into this player here, for example, and he can cut it back into number 20, who has got acres of space on the edge of the box, who can probably easily get a shot on target there. So you are going to see quite a few crosses going in. They're not all low crosses, in my opinion. So that is a bit of a debate whether you go purely low or mixed. I've watched a bit of Benfica, and they, in my opinion, they are fairly mixed. But in this scenario, it is going over a low cross. So then the first test to be done is going to be with former side PSV. And this, again, was a very dominant display. We actually made it all the way to the semi-finals of the Champions League as well, just showing that we are able to cope against these top sides in Europe. We managed to win the Dutch League, also won the Becker Cup, and also the Cruyff Shield, scoring 147 goals and only conceding 9. Now, obviously, PSV are quite a favourite. I'd say one of the favourites, definitely, to win the Dutch League, behind Ajax, and probably above Feyenoord as well. But still, to get to the semi-finals with this side is very, very good, and the stats are about to blow your mind. If we go into the data hub then, team attacking, 4.32 goals a game, which is absolutely outstanding. Obviously, scoring 4 goals a game is pretty much never heard of. Obviously, in a slightly tougher league, you might get slightly less than that. But at the end of the day, we took this team into the Champions League and still got these type of stats. Now, obviously, this is purely based in the Dutch League, but to get to the semi-finals is a very, very big statement. And this is obviously stats just from the league, but still very, very impressive. The pass completion, again, sitting at 91% is quite expected because it is going to be short passes you're going to be playing. And obviously at a very high tempo. But when you are playing short passes, you see them triangles develop. It is quite easy to complete your passes because players are always there for you. In terms of defending, ridiculously solid, 0.26 conceded a game. Tackle win ratio actually quite high in this tactic as well. So 0.26 conceded and 4.32 goals scored. Absolutely outrageous stats. So the second test went even better. We actually managed to win the Portuguese league with Benfica. Obviously, a few harder teams as well to beat in here. You also won the Placard and the Allianz Cup, and this is the most impressive part. We got all the way to the Champions League final. Unfortunately, we did lose, but it was against Manchester City. But to get to the final, obviously with Benfica with no additional signings, is a massive accomplishment. 161 goals scored, only 10 conceded. Goncalo Ramos coming in with 66 goals, Draxler with 40 assists, obviously lighten up this league. Well, that is overall stats for the season, not just the league. Data hub though, team attacking, 4.74, so absolutely brutal stats there. You're getting on towards 5 goals a game there. 91.37 pass completion again. In terms of the defending, 0.29. So a little more conceded, but still very, very low. Under half a goal a game, which is absolutely nuts. Tackle win ratio is still sitting quite high. But what I always like to do with this is just purely look at the conceded, 0.29. Team attacking, 4.47. You literally cannot go wrong with them stats. We're also going to show you this side of stuff because I wanted to go over the possession. So we were second best in possession with 60%, but we were the best at most points per game, best at most goals, scoring 161. We've got fewer shots against, most shots for, most clean sheets, and the fewest conceded. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 out of every other thing. We've got basically 6 of the top stats in this division. So a lot of the things did go in our favour, and we were very close to actually ranking 1 with the most average possession per game as well. So the game we're actually going to watch the goals from is going to be against Barcelona in what was the first leg of the Champions League. Would have been the quarterfinals, I believe this would have been. And this was a 4-1 win. They do go 1-0 up as well. So the reason I want to show you this is because, one, it's against the top side. You get to see a little bit about the pressing in this team as well. And also the fact that we did actually go a goal down from a long goal kick. A little bit of just dodgy individual defending there. Nothing down to the tactic. But this shows how well you can actually play even against one of the best teams in Europe. Barcelona playing a full-strength team after, as I will show you as well. But here we go then. So it's going to be Frankie de Jong, plays it into Pedri. Neres is one of the best players by a long shot in this system. Such a great presser of the ball. Wins the ball back. Takes his time with it. A wonder ball over the top into Julian Draxler, who cuts it back inside. Completely free Ramos in the middle. And that is going to tie it up 1-1. We go again though, de Jong with the ball again, little bit clumsy again there. Draxler intercepts a very bad ball over the top into Ramos, who tucks it into the bottom right corner. And this guy Ramos is something special. If you never used him like before, if you need a striker, guys, give this guy a shot. I know I'm definitely going to try and sign him in my next Football Manager career mode because, I mean, honestly, that guy is a glitch. We then go again. It's going to be Grimaldo over into Rafa. A little bit of pass and play. He actually dribbles. You're going to see him make one last pass into Neres, who tucks it into the bottom left. So what you're seeing there, as well as obviously Neres is meant to be out wide, but they do sort of come inside to pick up the ball, get inside the box. So at some points, it does almost look like you've got three strikers. Obviously, you've got one centralised and two a little bit wider. But them coming into the box, sitting a little bit narrower, is really helpful because, goals like that wouldn't happen if they weren't in them areas. But going into what is going to be the last goal, a little bit of a set piece play here. It's going to be João Victor with the ball into Neres, gets challenged there, but a wonder ball in the box, and it's going to be Pino with the ball. And we're going to show you Barcelona's team because by no means of the imagination was this an easy game. Obviously, you can see the stats. We absolutely battered them, and they were playing a ridiculous team, full strength team. Obviously, ter Stegen, Christensen, Koundé, Araujo, Alba, Busquets, Pedri, de Jong, Rafinha, Fati, and Lewandowski. So full strength team. They weren't playing rotation, and we absolutely dominated it. Even had more possession than a Barcelona side, which is absolutely sensational. But the last thing we're going to do is break down the tactic for you guys and go over some of the player roles. Before we do get into your favourite part of the video though, guys, if you are enjoying this video so far, please do leave a like on the video. Be sure to leave a comment in what manager you want to see remade next. And also, please do subscribe to the channel. There's 78% of you guys that watch the videos on a daily basis that have not hit subscribe. So hit subscribe, it's completely free. It helps the channel grow and you'll never miss another upload again. So, this is going to be the 4-2-3-1 that we've been talking about. Obviously, this is made to almost replicate him as much as I can. As I always address, some things are tweaked purely because Football Manager doesn't allow you to play like it in game, but this one I would say is pretty much one for one. So let's start off with the basics. Mentality, you want set to positive because it is a positive tactic. In possession, fairly wide, overlap on the left and the right, play out of defence. Mixed crosses you can have low, but personally I do prefer having mixed on. Shorter pass and directness with the higher tempo. In transition, you want counter press, counter, distribute to the fullbacks and the centre backs, and roll it out selected. Out of possession, you want a higher defensive line with the offside trap and a much higher line of engagement, standard defensive width, tighter marking more often, and prevent short goalkeeper distribution selected on that selection there. Going into the player roles then. There is a mixture, so make sure you're paying attention here. We're going to be having the sweeper keeper on the defensive duty, who is simply just told to take fewer risks and shorter passing selected. Very rarely, if at all, you will see this goalkeeper go long with a ball. Going over to the fullback then, you want him to be on a fullback support duty, balance, get further forward, stay wider, run wide with the ball, and shorter passing selected. Over to the left back then, we're going to be seeing the same. It's going to be balance, stay wider, get further forward, run wide with the ball, and shorter passing. In this system, you want one ball playing defender, one central defender, both on defensive duties. You want on the ball playing defender, balanced and shorter passing. And then on the central defender, you want again balanced and shorter passing. The reason why we don't want any of them taking more risks is because there's enough attacking outlet in the team anyway. You want your defenders to be defenders. Obviously, it needs to be comfortable on the ball, but we don't want them drifting up into the midfield above and beyond. Going over to the two in the midfield then. On the right-hand side, we've actually got a ball-winning midfielder on the defend duty who is told to be balanced and shorter passing. Everything else is set to default on that because it doesn't really need tweaking. Next to him, now you can have a central midfield player, but just for the purpose of this tactic being the best it can be, in my opinion, I opted to have a Roman playmaker on the support duty, on balance, tackle harder, move into channels, and shorter passing. Going over to what is going to be the front sort of three, the left-hand side is going to be an inverted winger on the attack duty. Again, you're going to have balanced on the press, get further forward, roam from position, cut inside with the ball, shorter passing, and take more risks. Obviously, with this one, I don't tell him to sit narrow all the time because you do want him to have a little bit of width just so you can create them triangles. But when he's got the ball, you want him to cut inside. And obviously, we saw from, who was the goal? I think it was Neres. They do naturally drift inside anyway. So you don't need to tell them purely to sit narrower all of the time. Over to the right-hand side then, we are going to have exactly the same. It's going to be balanced, get further forward, cut inside with the ball, and shorter passing selected. The centralised player is going to be the attacker midfield player on the attack duty, balanced, get further forward, shorter passing, roam from position, take more risks, and dribble more. And the last player is going to be a pressing forward because he has to do quite a bit of pressing, to be honest. More often, roam from position, shorter passing, take more risks, shoot more often, and dribble more. This here can be tweaked. Depends what you want. In my opinion, I like to have quite a selfish striker, so I always tell him to shoot more often and take more risks. That is going to be everything broken down for you guys. If you guys have enjoyed this video, you can download this tactic in the description, and it's completely free. Just simply click the download link, download it to your computer, click this button here, click load, download it, import it. Everything will be translated over for you, so you haven't got to copy it click for click. If you guys have enjoyed this video enough, please do leave a like below. Be sure to subscribe again. Let's try and turn that 70% not subscribed into 50. Get subscribing, guys. Let's try and hit 3K. But that is going to be it for me today, guys. And I'll see you in the next one.